What's up, guys? Simone Fan 101 here, and this is my NXT review. This is gonna be a good one, or maybe not. I don't know. But why the hell am I? What the hell am I saying? Let's go already. NXT. This was a decent episode this week. Not a great one, but it definitely started, building storylines as NXT should build storylines. We had. And the opening of the show was Ty Dillinger and Angelo Dawkins in a singles match. Ty Dillinger beat Dawkins in a matter of 2 minutes. It was a nothing match, really. Just something to showcase Ty Dillinger. But, I can't believe I forgot this. The real opening of the show, before the actual show, was William Regal, telling us a little bit about the American Dream Dusty Rhodes, who sadly died last year. And that Dusty Rhodes would be proud that the Dusty Rhodes Classic tournament, the tag team tournament, would be named in his honor. And William Regal said, you know what? He basically said that we're gonna bring back the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Tournament, which was a big announcement. And I actually really liked the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Tournament from last year, because it was thanks to that tournament that we first started seeing how good tag teams like the Revival and American Alpha really were. So hopefully they'll do some for a team this year. So going back to what I was saying earlier, Dillinger beat Dawkins. He was on his way out, and then we heard Glorious. Bobby Roode came out with his awesome theme song. He complimented Ty Dillinger, saying that was simply impressive. And people booed when he said impressive because they wanted to hear Glorious. Roode knows exactly what the hell he's talking about. Roode says he wants to enter the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Tournament Classic. Although, the one thing I did kind of sigh at, of course, is when he said, the biggest reason why I went to NXT was so I could win the Dusty Rhodes Classic. And it's like, no, the biggest reason why you came to NXT was so you could win the NXT Championship. That's what you should be saying. You could say one of the biggest, not the biggest. Then again, he did say there are many reasons he came to NXT, so he might just be bullshitting us or something. I don't know. Anyways, Roode said that he wanted a tag team partner because, of course, he needed a tag team partner to be in the tournament, and he chose Ty Dillinger. The nice thing about this is that both of them are Canadian wrestlers, and I believe the finals of the tournament. I don't know whether or not the finals of the tournament happens at Takeover Toronto. It might, because the tournament starts next week, and of course, Takeover Toronto is in November. We're going to be in October, so. So yeah, we already have that all set up. That's probably what's going to happen. What the hell am I saying? So yeah, Roode and Ty Dillinger. The other thing about that is that they're Canadian. So both of them being Canadian wrestlers going to take over Toronto, I don't know whether or not it leads to them being in the finals. I don't think so. But we'll see what happens. I already have a couple teams in mind that might be in the finals, including one that I'll announce after this review is over. So after that, we saw Hideo Itami backstage. He is apparently and he is hyping his match for later in the night. Basically, Itami for the past few weeks has been facing Cruiserweight Classic guys. He's faced Sean Maluda, I believe. I think he faced Arya Davari. Just last week, he faced Cedric. No, he didn't face Cedric Alexander. That was Andrade Almas. But this week, he's going to face Lince Dorado. So, he faced not Drew Gulak, but who's the other guy? Tony Nese. He faced Tony Nese last week, and or it may have been Drew Gulak. Who cares? Not last week, well, last time he competed. But Itami's going to be facing Lince Dorado later in the night, which has to be at least good. I'll get to that match later. After that, we had what was supposed to be a match between the Revival and the Ely brothers, or the Ely twins, as they are actually twins. Um, but then, right when the match was about to start, because Ely twins come up first, then the Revival, and then, as promised, Samoa Joe came out, passed the Revival, went into the ring, and just proceeded to beat the shit out of the Ely brothers. And while they were on the ground, he gave them a series of running sentons, which, that couldn't have felt good, unless, they like fat people on them. That's wrong. Then Joe cut a promo, saying that this will continue unless he either gets Nakamura or gets the NXT title. And just badass. And you see the Revival up on the ramp. They're like, fuck this. And they're going to the back. He's like, yeah, no shit. Pissed off Samoa Joe. Do not ever cross pissed off Samoa Joe. Funny thing is, when he left the ring to go to the back, he gets one of the Ely brothers and just throws him against the barricade, which I found funny. Like, damn. Or maybe it was the ring steps. Who cares? After that, we had a brief, I think it was like a vignette or something, of Dan Matha, or Matha, I forget how to pronounce his last name. He's going to make his NXT debut next week. From what I've heard of the guy, he's a big guy, jacked to the gills, very athletic, used to play football. That sounds a lot like Baron Corbin, and that sounds like the kind of guy that Vince McMahon is behind. He likes the big football-like athletes. Why do you think Roman Reigns gets pushed so much, other than the fact that he's Samoan? Next, we had a 3-minute match between Mandy Rose and Ember Moon. This was an okay match, and for the 3 minutes that it got. I've seen very little of Mandy Rose, with the exception of that one 6-man tag team match. And yet, Mandy Rose has only been to WWE for, a year? And she's already better than Eva Marie. Which really goes to show you how horrible Eva Marie really is. Fire her ass already. We then had, and Ember Moon beat Mandy Rose with that twirling stunner. She's got to come up with a name on that one. You know what'd be awesome? Because her name is Ember Moon, right? What would be awesome if her finishing maneuver was called Moonshine. That would be hilarious. We then saw Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa backstage after the match was over. Gargano and Ciampa are basically saying that something was missing, and that because they competed in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic last year. Now they're going to compete in the Classic tournament this year, and hopefully they're going to win. And I see these guys going, at the very least, the semifinals, if not the finals, and winning. We then had another Sanity vignette. I'm curious as to who this is. This must be building up to something at TakeOver Toronto. It must be. The Authors of Pain beat a pair of jobbers. Just straight up destruction on the Authors of Pain's part. This wasn't the only squash match of the night. I'll get to another one. By the way, after the match, Paul Ellering finally spoke. I mean, jeez. About damn time. Paul Ellering spoke. He basically said that Chapter 1 was the arrival, and Chapter 2, the destruction will happen. And that's all that they need to know. And then they walked away. I did like it in a sense that it was very short and brief, but it spelled a lot. My only problem is with a lot of people were quiet when they heard the promo, except for the few idiots in the crowd. I decided to be a jackass and to say things like, "You suck, Paul Ellering," which I get it. He's a heel. But if everyone is quiet, but I don't know why. Maybe it was just the one jackass actually being a jackass, and maybe it was just a guy, trying to boo, but everyone else was being quiet because they actually want to listen. I don't know. We then have William Regal backstage on whether or not Shinsuke Nakamura will be able to compete, because he doesn't know, because he can't reach Shinsuke, because Shinsuke is hard to reach, apparently. Blake and Murphy came into the room, and said that, and supposedly they aired their grievances and they were able to do their thing. Apparently not, because they still argued against each other. William Regal's like, they basically, in so many words, he said to get the fuck out. Asuka destroyed Liv Morgan in a minute, maybe even less, like about 50 seconds it took to kill Liv Morgan. I am waiting for the coroner's report. That is how you book a squash match. Try to have the even though Liv Morgan's not a jobber, it was basically a squash match. And of course, Asuka after the match yelled out, "Nobody's ready for me," except for maybe Ember Moon, but that was me. But nobody's ready for me. No shit. All the other stars went up to the main roster already. You only ever face Bayley. You need to face Sasha, Charlotte, and Becky. And Natalia. Then you'd have some great matches. We got an announcement after that next week the Revival will face Andrade Cien Almas and Cedric Alexander in the Dusty Rhodes Classic. This has to be the main event the main event match of the night. And if this is leading to what I'm predicting it will be leading to, it may not be that night, but it will be leading to an eventual heel turn for Andrade Cien Almas. So that I'm predicting it to be that to be a pretty good match, and to give it some time, like a good 10, 11 minutes to do. Speaking of main event, the main event match of the night was Hideo Itami versus Lince Dorado. Out of all the matches of the night, this is by far the better one, the best one. I mean, the match went only like 7.5 minutes, but they did a good little chunk in the little bit 7.5 minutes. It was a nice, fun little match, which is exactly what it needed to be. It gets the Cruiserweight Classic wrestlers some exposure, while also building up Hideo Itami for the eventual match with Austin Aries. Speaking of Austin Aries, after the match was over, Aries snuck into the ring, attacked Itami from behind, and when Itami started fighting back, he got out of the ring, ran up to the ramp, and put his arms out like he actually won a match. What a heel. This is definitely building to take over Toronto, which they will have an awesome match. They have to. It's Itami and Aries. So, with that said, guys, this was actually it was a decent edition of NXT this week. I was about to say Impact, but a decent edition of NXT. We had a fun match, actual building of several storylines. People being killed left and right. First, Joe killed two twins. Then not Asuka, but then the Authors of Pain, Razor, and forget the other guy's name, just beat the shit out of some jobbers that I don't even think we heard their names. And of course Liv Morgan got crushed and woman handled by Asuka. So that was fun. So next time, guys, I'll see you next time, guys, when I Lucha Underground review. Until then, peace.